And I usually tell people one connection. I know that, like you just said, 10, but if you go in with that weight on your shoulders, then I think it puts a lot of unnecessary stress. But if you say, if I can just come away with one solid connection, then I win. And then you'll end up making more connections.
Welcome, LabCoatAgents. We are going to touch on a topic today that is very, very relevant in the world that we are in. I'm excited to have the conversation with Nick Shelton. He's a social strategist, and we're going to talk about 3 steps for LabCoatAgents, real estate professionals, to build strong relationships and in an increasingly digital world. And man, is this a relevant topic right now, Nick. I'm a producing agent in Washington, D.C., and I was thinking about the database today and how many people we haven't seen. And I need this advice, Nick. So I'm looking forward to speaking with you about it. And I hope you can give me some nuggets and tell everybody who you are and what you do, Nick.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. First of all, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here. And so I am a personal development coach and a speaker that specializes in building networks of people. And I've successfully trained and coached real estate investors, agents, and wholesalers, showing them how to improve their net worth by using simple strategies to grow their net work. And at the end of the day, it's all about real human connection, making real connections with people, not the superficial, shallow connections, because quality relationships equal a quality life, in addition to getting referrals, making sales, and having access to opportunities. So what I know is how to get you in position to have those good quality relationships and make those connections. And today, if it's okay with you, I'm going to give you actionable steps of using technology to leverage your efforts in a way that will work for you. So, we're the digital world part. We're not going just completely digital because we still need that face-to-face, but we're going to use some digital tactics to leverage how we socialize with people, get known, and connect and maintain our relationships.
Oh man, like I said, I'm so excited. As we were looking at the database today, one by one, I was looking at my client list, and I'll share with you guys. I'm happy to share my flaws and my faults. I've got clients, good clients. Some of you are going to laugh at me that, boy, I haven't seen face-to-face in 18, 24 months. And thank goodness for the digital component of it. I can keep up with them on Facebook a little bit and comment to stay in front of them. But man, a strategy around deepening the relationship in the digital world is key. And especially as we go back into an environment of maybe face-to-face isn't happening as much as we would like. So we better figure this stuff out. So, yeah. So what path are we going to take? Where do you want to jump in here, Nick?
Okay, well, we're going to start on just the getting known part, because like I say, it's much easier if you're known in your field. So whenever you go places, you don't have to introduce yourself and say, this is what I'm about. If people already know who you are when you show up, then it makes it much easier to get referrals and for people to come to you. And an example I use is Brad Pitt. I say, when Brad Pitt goes places, he gets special treatment. And it's not because Brad Pitt knows a lot of people. Back to that, like, it's not what you know, it's who you know. I think it's more of who knows you, because Brad Pitt gets special treatment because a lot of people know Brad Pitt. So if a lot of people know you, then you have a huge advantage over someone who is not known. And then you just have to go in cold and try to get people to know you. If you're already known, it makes it much better. So we're going to start off with getting known.
Well, doesn't that match up with business anyway? People that know you, like you, and trust you already use you. So if you walk into that relationship and they already know you, well, then all you got to do is win their trust over. So that works out well. Yes,
absolutely. So I know that a lot of times for the real estate folks, people are using, they're sending out magnets. I have a bunch of refrigerator magnets on my fridge with real estate people on them. There's, postcards. There's football schedules. That's really popular right now. But, that just because I have a football schedule with your picture on it doesn't mean that I know you, like you, trust you, all that sort of stuff. But you're going to want to start building your network out in places that have your ideal clients. And so I would think a lot of high net worth individuals would be good clients because they're buying and selling, making things happen. And so if you are around these people, that's a good thing. And so one thing that a lot of people don't think of that they can do very easily is spam yourself. So what I mean by that is, so set up a separate email address and then start getting your name on lists of just a lot of high-end things. So for example, you'd put in like Ritz-Carlton, Yacht Charter, Cartier, Mont Blanc pins, and just go on their websites and just put your name and email for the more information thing. And then what happens is you get on a list. And those companies sell your name to other high-end lists, and you are a person that's interested in high-end things. And then what happens is when there are events, you get notified of these events. So if there's any fundraisers or any jewelry exhibits, art exhibits, things like that, the ballet is coming to town, you will get notified of this. And then sometimes, or you'll get an invite. And then when you get an invite, then you show up. And one of the things that you can do is if you get invited to something, or you see there's a nice high-end event coming. So there's, say, polo, for example. We have a lot of polo events here. And so if there's a polo event happening, you think, oh, I would like to be there, not only because they have good cocktails, but I can meet a lot of people and just get my name out there. And so a lot of these events will have some kind of a social media page attached to it. So beforehand, you can get on there and there'll be maybe a chat box, and you can look on there and see who the main movers and shakers in that chat are. Usually those people are going to also be movers and shakers at that event. So you can kind of piggyback on a conversation, compliment something, ask a question. So they get to see your name on there. And then when it gets time to get, like, it's close to the event, you can say, hey, Bill, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the event. And now this person is also looking forward to meeting you because you've had a little familiarity. So you're doing like a pre-thing there. So now when you show up at this polo event, you're not walking in cold. You're walking in and there's someone who is expecting to meet you there. And usually if they're pretty strong on the chat thing, they're going to be strong and know a lot of people there, and they can introduce you to people. And also you'll have the opportunity, anyone that you see on that chat, you can look them up on LinkedIn, see who's going to be there, see what their hobbies are. If there's something that's similar to one of your hobbies, you can approach them and say, hey, I looked at you on LinkedIn. Or you can just mention, I like kayaking. And they might, if you saw that they like kayaking, and then you have something that you can come out the gate with pretty strong. And now, before I ramble too much, I'll pause and let you say something.
No, that's good. It's a targeted, if I'm hearing it correctly, you're identifying the space where you believe the clientele is that you'd like to do business with. Just to recap what you said, yes. You're spamming yourself, putting yourself on these lists, which will create more spam and more lists. Then you're going in and understanding who the players are at the event. You're making sure the players realize who you are. And then you're taking it a step further and picking up on their LinkedIn page or different spots to really be able to have a meaningful conversation. So what I hear from that is what we're doing is creating a database, or attempting to create a database around the clientele that we want to work with, and but doing it from a strategy-based position of like, this is how I want to do it, and this is who I want to be around, and this is what I'm going to do when I go there. And I might even take it a step further and have your goal be to come away with 10 folks' information, 10 names or emails or cell phone numbers that you could add to your database from that event. And then maybe all you have to do is go to events and just have fun and build your database that way, and watch it produce results over the years. Is that it?
Right, that is it. And I usually tell people one connection. I know that, like you just said, 10, but if you go in with that weight on your shoulders, then I think it puts a lot of unnecessary stress. But if you say, if I can just come away with one solid connection, then I win. And then you'll end up making more connections, but you don't want to go in with that pressure on you. So just make it one, and then you'll find that you'll get more than one, but it definitely, you carry yourself a little bit better if you're not putting that much pressure, like I have to make 10. If you just say I have to make one, then it flows a lot easier.
Well, I'm in this conversation a lot with my team, because different folks have different lead generation tactics. We've got folks that circle prospect, and then we've got folks that would rather get out of the business before they circle prospect. We've got folks that do open house, but this is a very strategic social approach. So we have agents on the team that, in the right environment, will just fill up that database from social events like that. And being able to know what your strengths and weaknesses are, and being able to expand on your strengths, if you're very social and maybe your weekly goal is to attend 2 or 3 events per week, and to build your database that way. I'm not going to let everybody off the hook with one connection. We're going to go to an event. We need 5 or 10, but think about that for a second. Like, if you like going to events, you like going to happy hours, you're looking for new ways to create new relationships, it's all out there for you. What Nick's suggesting is just to be super strategic about it. But if you could add 10 people to the database per week for 40 weeks, and let's say you take 12 weeks off a year, what is it, 400 people added to your database? And let's do the math, 12 to 2, for every 12 people in the database, maybe you get 2 closed deals. That data is out there. So you can create a business just by going to events, and Nick's just saying be strategic about it. So give me some other ideas. That's a good one. I hadn't thought about spamming myself, but I'll write that one down. I'll put that in the back of my mind.
Yeah, excellent. And then there's a lot of, especially these days, online events, just pure online social events, and they might go over Zoom like this. So I've been to a lot of them. And so when you attend, and you can look these up online, you can just put in like online networking, and a lot of things will pop up, and then you can attend from your living room. And what I suggest that you do is, if everyone can see my box, it says Nick Shelton, social strategist. So next to your name, I would suggest putting in what your title is or what it is that you do. So then when people are looking at the gallery view of a Zoom call, they can just kind of scan and they can see, oh, you are, say, if you're a real estate investor, they can say, oh, that person's a real estate investor. So they'll know, so they don't have to wait for you to actually interact with you to find that out. They can just scan and they'll know that about you. Also, if you have any relevant links, so if you have your LinkedIn page or website or any relevant links that you want to share with people, make sure that you have that easily accessible. So like on my computer, I'll have it on, there's a thing called notes, and I can just click that box, all my links will pop up. So if I need to put a link in the chat, I can just copy and paste it really quick. I don't have to fumble around looking for the link. So that also helps out. And plus, you can, on a lot of these things, if you see the list of people that are on Zoom meetings or any of these Zoom hangouts or social events, you can look them up on LinkedIn while you are at the event, while you are sitting there talking to people. So people can be discussing something and you can say, oh, hey, so there's Jason Martin. Let me see what's going on with that guy. And then I can look you up on LinkedIn. And then if there's something interesting there, I can circle back. I can hit you up in a private chat, and I can say, hey, I would like to talk to you further about XYZ. And so that's another thing that you can do that's purely digital when you are online, attending some of these meetings.
And I might even layer on to that, make it something that you're passionate about. So whatever the online event is, If you like playing basketball and there's an online, I don't know why I use basketball. It's on my mind. I want to play. I'm ready to play some hoops. I got my football, but I'm ready to play basketball. But if basketball is your thing, join an online basketball community because the relationships will deepen the more engaged you are. I think it would be difficult to jump into one of these communities one time. I'd love for you guys to prove me wrong. Jump in one time, create a meaningful relationship. You are talking about continued engagement on these platforms, in
Yes.
these groups, and building relationships that have some depth to them. But if you want to connect with somebody and build a relationship, the door is wide open when you're doing something that you guys have in common, and whatever that is, the conversation is much easier because you're talking about that thing that opens the door for the relationship creation. So just make that, whatever that online social event is, make it something you're passionate about.
Right, exactly. And yes, it could be something that you just have an interest in or something that you already do. For example, I thought I should meet more pilots. You know, it doesn't hurt to know pilots. And I'm not a pilot, but I went to a pilot meetup and they said, "What do you fly?" And I said, "I don't fly. I just wanted to meet pilots." And so I started going to the pilot thing. Now I have a lot of pilot friends and I get to do a lot of cool stuff at the airport out here. We have a little private airport up the street. And when you know a bunch of pilots, you get to do a bunch of cool stuff at the airport. So that is just one of the benefits. So it could just be an interest that you have, or it could be something that you want to find out more about, like glass blowing or something, or it could be something more strategic like the polo.
Interesting. So are you getting your pilot's license? Are you trying to get your pilot's license?
I am not. There was a time that I tried to get it. I was going to do it. And it was all because of a pretty girl. She had said, girls love pilots. And I said, well, I'm going to be a pilot. And then I started learning to fly. And then after that relationship ended, I decided, okay, I think I'm done trying to be a pilot.
Well, the good news is you have a bunch of relationships with pilots. So there you go. Mission accomplished. You did that. Okay. So I'm with you. Some other tips. We're wide open. I'm loving them.
All right. So then once you get to these events, you're going to actually want to make the connections, make the real connections, build the trust as we talked about. So you don't go in and just start pitching people or anything like that. You're going to need to form that relationship. So first thing, I think I mentioned it earlier, putting your interests out there. People can't guess, they're not mind readers, so they're not going to know what your interests are unless you put them out there, and people bond over interests. So you need to say what you're into. Like, I like sailboats. So when people meet me, I let them know, everyone who meets me is going to walk away knowing that I like sailboats. I like kayaking and sailboats. And so if that is something that they are interested in, or they have an uncle that likes that, then I'll find out about that. But you have to put your interests out. So that's one thing. Another thing is you want to be vulnerable as well. And because that builds trust really quickly. And you say, well, how can you be vulnerable? And that, I always say that you can tell an embarrassing story, and it doesn't have to be like a raunchy embarrassing story. It could just be an embarrassing story about how you, when you were walking into the event, when you're walking up the stairs, you thought there was an extra stair at the top and you tripped and you thought it was, embarrassing. And that just opens you up, not so people know you're not taking yourself too seriously, you're human. And a story that I tell is, I was at an event and there were these little turkey sandwiches. And I remember thinking, because there's a lot of pretty girls there, I said, I hope I don't start choking on one of these sandwiches. And I started choking on one of the sandwiches. And then I was thinking, oh no, this is going to be more embarrassing if I just fall out on the floor and the paramedics have to come. So I had to give myself the Heimlich maneuver over like the back of the chair. And that was horribly embarrassing. But I share that with people when I go to other things and say, hey, last time I came to one of these, I was choking on the sandwich. So now I try to eat softer foods when I'm in these. And then they get a laugh, and they'll either share a story with me about when they choked or saw someone get the Heimlich maneuver or something. But then it gets us past that initial small talk and gets us into deeper conversations, because I'm showing that I'm vulnerable. And then I have another thing to throw on here also, which is asking advice. So if you ask someone advice, that also, because everyone loves being asked advice, because you could have asked anyone, you asked them. And so that starts building trust, because they'll share whatever their opinion is. And if you follow up, so that's the first part, is the asking. And then if this relationship is building, if you follow up with them and you took some of their advice, so it doesn't have to be every piece of it, but for example, if I wanted to know about, someone knew about beekeeping, and I said, hey, if I wanted to start beekeeping, is there a certain type of bee that I would start with? Do I need the suit with the smoke puffy thing? How would I start? And then they say, okay, what you want to do is you want to get this particular equipment, that's the best brand, and something like that. And then say 3 weeks later, I followed up and said, hey, I got a couple of these things that you had recommended. Then now they feel invested in me. They want to see my success. We've bonded because I asked advice, they gave me some of their advice, and I followed up by actually taking some advice. So now we're really in there. We're really bonded, a lot more than just casual talk about the weather and the road conditions or something like that. We've bonded. So those things are also very good to start getting into building those relationships very quickly.
People love to give advice. They love to help. They love to, I'll say it, they love to talk about themselves. So if you get them talking, you'll win. Okay, I got you. What else do you have for us, my friend?
I got more. Yes. So
Right.
Also shared experiences. People bond over shared experiences. So I know there are several people that do really well in just inviting people. If you're going to go do something anyway, you might as well invite some people that could be clients to something random like go-kart racing or like Top Golf or something like that. If they have that where you guys are, it's this kind of this place where you just chip golf balls into these little circles. And so there's these fun game things that you can invite people to do. And you don't have to tie it into your business. You just say, hey, I'm just going to go do this. I'm wondering if you would like to join me. And you can have a group of people do that. And then that way they are just having fun, and they find that, oh, I like hanging out with Jason. Jason's a cool guy. So then when it comes time to refer someone to you or do something themselves with you, you're the guy that is the top of the mind versus the person that's just on a refrigerator magnet somewhere. And also, you can create your own custom events for these shared experiences. So for an example, I moved into a new apartment downtown in the city. It's a very high-end apartment. And I said, I would like to meet my neighbors. And so I invited the whole floor of the building that I live on to a wine and cheese party. And so I just, got some wine. I said, don't bring in any wine, even though everyone brought wine anyway. And so I bought a bunch of wine, got some cheese and the little meats and some chocolates, and invited everybody. And then for a moment I panicked, what if everybody shows up? But everyone doesn't show up. But a nice group of people came, and we bonded and got to know each other. And then I knew a bunch of people in my building just by throwing a wine and cheese party and having people over, and we just had casual conversation. And then I've done a caviar party as well. And I've done a yacht party where people think that you have to have a lot of money to do this. You don't. It doesn't cost a lot. You can go, if you happen to be by the ocean somewhere, might be able to get a yacht for, $600, $1,000 for, 4 hours or something, and then say, hey, 2 Saturdays from now, having a yacht party, would you like to come out? Of course, you're going to say yes. So then you will have a bunch of people that'll come out to your little event, and you just hang out, have a good time. And people remember that. They think of you. I had this great experience. Jason had this great party. I was there. It was wonderful. So now you've really elevated yourself in the eyes of them. And when they have something, they might invite you, but they will always have this little memory. And so that really puts you, it puts you in a good standing with people because you bonded in these really cool atmospheres. So you can do them yourself like that, or you can go out in public and just do like a bowling night with a bunch of people.
Yeah, well, I'll give you guys one where we're trying to focus on outdoor events right now. And John Coleman, one of the business partners of the Jason Martin Group, he's a huge Michigan football fan, and we're in DC, and University of Maryland's not too far away. So he's going to host a big Michigan tailgate party because Michigan is coming to the University of Maryland. So we're going to invite Maryland people, Michigan people. We're going to have a big tailgate. And guess what? He's just excited about Michigan football. It's
Right.
something he likes anyway. And I guarantee you guys, I promise you, there will probably be a half dozen deals that come out of that event. And is that the ultimate measuring stick for him for the event? We're just going to go and have fun. And that's what we're going to do. And the result will be deals will come from it. So to pick something you're passionate about. I'm dying to know, Nick, I was talking to you a little bit about this yesterday. Your network of people that you're surrounded with, it's expansive, isn't it?
Yes, it's very expansive.
What do you do with it? What's your target? Like, I need to know a little more about you. Like how are you utilizing your network?
So for me, my dream was I wanted a certain lifestyle, and my network was basically to enhance my lifestyle and be able to have opportunities to do a lot of things that regular people don't get to do. And I found out that, one way, if you just have a bunch of money, you can try to do it, but relationships are often better than just having money because people have access to a lot of stuff that you might not have access to just by having money. So I said, if I can build out a really nice network, now when I travel to different countries, usually there's somebody that's going to pick me up from the airport, show me around. I'll stay at a lot of people's homes. People know I like sailboats, so I get invited to go sailing a lot. So I don't have to buy my own sailboat. People invite me to go sailing. And so it's just things like that where I get to do a lot of cool stuff just because of the network. I like to go to see like the ballet and stuff like that. And so if somebody has tickets to something like that or sports games, people invite me and I go, and I don't have to try to figure it out myself. I just like enjoying certain things. And I figured by knowing people, like if we go back to that yacht example, I don't need to buy a yacht, but if somebody has a yacht, they're not just going to be out there by themselves on it. They want to bring their friends on it. If I am their friend, they want to be surrounded with their friends. So they will say, hey, Nick likes this. Let's get him over here. And so then I get to be there too. And so I try to have that experience, provide that for other people, and other people provide that experience to me. So it just, I find I get a well-rounded life experience by having a really good network of people that know, like, and trust me.
That's great. And Nick's been to 34 different countries, or 36, I believe. I've
39.
got it. 39. I was close. 39 different countries, and sounds like you just bounce around and stay for free all over the world. Good for you. That's the power of relationships. Okay, so I always like to keep. I'm always sensitive to everybody's time here. So we got about 5 more minutes, Nick. Hit me with whatever else you want to hit me with in the next 5 minutes.
All right, maintaining relationships. Most people are horrible at maintaining relationships, so we'll get into that. What I like to do is quarterly, I will go through all of my telephone contacts, email contacts, both business and personal, and I make a list of everybody who I have not talked to in the past 3 months that I should have talked to, but didn't. And then I just start working my way down that list. And what I do that's very easy to do is I get my phone out and I make a video, and so they can see me, they can hear me, they get my expressions. And I just say, it's been a while, just wanted to touch base with you. How's the knee after the surgery? How's the new baby? What's going on? And then I ask them about them, and then I tell them what's happening with me. This is my latest project. This is what I'm working on. And then it gives them an opportunity to know, it brings me to top of mind for them. So if there's something that they think would be a good fit for me, they can easily say, oh yeah, well, Nick's working on this and I have this connection here, I should introduce them. Or if it's something, when they tell me what they're doing, I know the latest thing with them, so I know how I can be of service to them or might be able to assist them in some way. So so quarterly, I just go through, work my way down the list. So either you can do it, if you don't want to do a video, you can do just a little voice, you can do voice memo things through text as well. Those are both better. I think video is better than sending an email or a text, because you get it's more personal. And if you can do a phone call, or if you can do a face-to-face thing, that's even better. And then one more thing before we run out of time, I wanted to get to this, is gift giving. Now, gift giving is really great if you give people gifts when they're not expecting them. So it's not a holiday or anything like that, just a random day of the week, like a random Tuesday, and you give somebody something, it has a way more impact than on their birthday or a holiday. And if you can give a gift for people's kids, they love that, and pets. That's also a huge, huge thing. People really remember that. And what I do is, when I'm around town, if I see something that would make a good gift for somebody, I just buy it, and then I'll take it home, wrap it in non-specific wrapping paper, and I put a Post-it note on there saying what it is. And then I have some in the closet, I have some in my trunk of my car. So then I always have something. So if someone has a gift for me, I say, oh, I have something for you. Go to the trunk. Here's something appropriate for you. Or if I need to give a gift to somebody, I have it. A good example, so you can be like a Rubik's Cube, something simple. A really great thing are these hand warmer mugs. I'm not affiliated with this at all, but people really like these in the winter. And so I saw these one day, and they're really unique, and they're about 15 bucks a piece, and people love them. So I bought cases of these things, and I give them out whenever I can, and people love them. So make sure you give gifts to people, because they love it on just random occasions. And also make sure quarterly you're contacting people that you should have contacted.
I love it. So folks are listening right now, watching right now, they want to connect with you. I know that you're a speaker, you're a coach, you're a strategist. How can they connect with you? And yeah, let's go with that.
All right, go to connectedintrovert.com. Connectedintrovert.com has all the juicy stuff.
And we didn't even get into that. I apologize. We're running tight on time. You're a self-described introvert?
Yes, I am an introvert.
I should have started with that question, because I'm sure people are sitting out there going, he's not an introvert. Like, if you watch this or listen to this, you're very social, you're very affable. Like, you don't come across as an introvert at all. So if you're there and you're like, that's me, I am an introvert, then maybe you do need to talk to Nick, because I wouldn't know it in this conversation. So I appreciate you, and thanks for the conversation. I'm going to go look at some hand warmer mugs. I like those. I'm going to consider spamming myself, and then ask for advice. I always like that one. And video-based hellos, how are you doing kind of messaging. So I will. I'm going to take some of this away. And Nick, thanks for being on, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thanks. You too.